Hello, this is Prophetess Sandra, and welcome to the monthly word for October 2023. I am going to ask you, as you are looking at this, if you would just take a minute, call someone, let them know that I'm on, and also if you would hit the subscribe button and join the family. That way you'll know when I'm on and when the monthly word is coming on so that you can be notified. I want to jump right into the word today. As I was in prayer, I began to see something very interesting. I saw what seemed to be a kind of like dull, monochromatic scene where everything was kind of gray and like muted. And as I began to look at it, it just kind of looked like it was a barren wasteland that was just kind of just dull and gray and lifeless. But then I began to see something just like wallpaper on a wall. I began to see this scene was peeling back. And as this scene was peeling back, it was revealing a bright and vibrant new scene that was green and lush, and it was full of life. It was teeming with life. And what I feel like the Lord was saying was, many of you are stepping into a new season, and God is literally peeling back the old season that you've been in and the old scenery, and He's bringing you into a new place. And so I want to read because for many of you, the new day is dawning for many of you, and it has already in fact come. Many of you are already that are watching me, you're already in your new season. And so I want to encourage you by Isaiah 43 and 18 through 19. It says, don't revel only in the past or spend all your time recounting the victories of days gone by. Watch closely. I am preparing something new. It's happening now, even as I speak. And I just prophesy that even as I'm speaking this, that God is unfolding for many of you, many of the new things that He has for you. And it says, and you're about to see it. I am preparing a way through the desert. Waters will flow where there have been none. And so many of you are poised for either the breakthrough that is going to bring your new season, and the other group or category of people, you're already in your new season. And so for those of you that are standing in that place where you're in your new season, God does not want you to be deceived, because many times when we've stepped into the new place, the enemy's strategy is try to get us to believe that, oh, nothing has changed, you're not in any new season, things are just the way they used to be. But don't be deceived, because God is changing the scenery. And for many of you that have not come into that new place yet, you're right on the precipice. You're standing right at the brink, and you're closer than you think. And I just want to encourage you also today, because many times when we have been standing on the promises of God and believing Him to do certain things for us and in our lives, we can become what I call faith fatigued. That means that your faith becomes worn out because you've just been standing. We've all been given a measure of faith, but that faith can be put to the test when there's been a long, prolonged waiting period. And so I just really want to encourage you today to stand firm in whatever God has promised you and not let go. And I also just want to take a look at Mark 9. In Mark 9, there is a scene where Jesus' disciples are brought, the disciples, a father brings a demon-possessed boy to them. And I just want to read this. It says, when they returned to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd surrounding them. And one of the men in the crowd spoke up and said, teacher, I brought my son to you. Can you help him? He is possessed by an evil spirit that won't let him talk. And whenever the spirit seizes him, it throws him violently to the ground. Then he foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast out the evil spirit, but they couldn't do it. Jesus said to them, you faithless people, how long must I be with you? He's rebuking his disciples. How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. So they brought the boy, but when the evil spirit saw Jesus, it threw the child into a violent convulsion, and he fell to the ground, wreathing and foaming at the mouth. And in the next verse here, I want you to pay particular attention to what is said in this discourse between Jesus and the Father. He says, how long has this been happening? Jesus asked the boy's father, and he replied, since he was a little boy. The Spirit often throws him into the fire or into the water, trying to kill him. Have mercy on us and help us. Listen to these three words, if you can. And listen to Jesus' reply to him. He says, what do you mean, if I can? Jesus asks, anything is possible if a person believes. And the father instantly cried out, I do believe, but help my unbelief. And so this little boy had been in this state for a very long time. And we can't really blame the father because we don't know where his faith level had been prior to this. But one thing is for sure, the discouragement of not seeing his son healed had begun to set in. And so in his response to Jesus, he says, if you can do anything. And Jesus retorted back, it's like, what do you mean if? So, and I want to say to you today, even though this is a situation where we're talking about, it could be anything you've been believing God for, a healing in your body, finances, a change in your marriage, anything that you've been believing God for, where you need that new season, where you need God to pull back this old season and break you through, clear through into the new season. I want to encourage you to hold on to your faith. I want to encourage you to align your words and your mouth with the decree of heaven concerning what he said he was going to do. Because Jesus is saying the same thing to us. Look, how long have you been in this situation? Doesn't matter. But if we are believing God, then we cannot allow ourselves to get into a position where we're so discouraged that we begin to question whether Jesus is able to do it or whether God can perform the miracles that we need to see happen in our own lives. So I just want to encourage you to stand firm. The breakthrough is here for many, and for those of you who have not already stepped into that new season, you are about to step into it. So I just want to take a moment. Let's pray. I want to encourage you through not only through the word, but just through a quick word of prayer to just come into agreement with you that whatever it is that you have on the horizon, whatever new place it is that you're stepping into, that God is bringing you into, if you've stepped into that new season, that God's blessing would be upon you, and that you would come into the full measure and obtain all that he has. And I also want to pray for people who are like on the precipice, where you really need to see that breakthrough. So Father, as we come before you right now, we thank you for the breakthrough. For many of us, it is already here. We've already stepped and transitioned into the new space, into the promised land, into the place that you've been prophesied over so many years, God. And so, Father, I just pray right now that even as when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, and they stepped into the wilderness, they were in their new place. They were in their place of promise, that we would not be deceived by the circumstances, what things look like, or by the voice of the enemy trying to convince us that we have not stepped in. And Father, I pray that you would position your people for this great awakening, for this great impartation, for this great place that is new. And that they would begin to position themselves for what you have. And I pray for those that are still waiting for the breakthrough, that they would not become weary in well-doing and weary in their faith. I want to encourage you today also to grab a copy of my book, Mountains Have Ears, Speak to Them. It's conquering fear, activating your authority, and moving mountains through the power of decrees. This is a powerful book that will help you to align your mouth with the faith that it takes to see those miracles happen. It is on sale right now on all major platforms, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. It's on sale on Amazon. You can find it at my publisher, Book Baby. And I believe that it will encourage you to stand and to align your decree, because whatever we decree, and when we're decreeing with the word of God and we're coming into alignment with heaven, then God says that we can have whatever we ask for. So I want to encourage you to grab a copy of that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that the word ministered to you, and I will see you next month. God bless.